Time for Type 40 Live, the live stream Doctor Who magazine show for your weekend, across Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook. Eagerly speculating as ever on all things Doctor Who, from way back then to the right here and the right now, all in front of a live chat full of fellow friends, fans, and companions, just like you. And yeah, they're all long gone, aren't they? Ding ding, off they went, leaving us, and in particular him, sort of lost for words. Near enough. The Emmys are around the corner. Surely they can't save Doctor Who's bacon at this crucial time. Maybe not. I don't know. It's enough to make your head positively split, isn't it? At least we've got the Blu-rays, haven't we? Oh, cheer up, mate. The sun is out, Russell. What are you looking so down about? We're going to be catching up with him a little later on, whilst we chill out here on our usual Big Who live stream. Got the console room as ever. This one's quite light and airy in every sense. I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show that never ends. It seems this show never ends. The show, on the other hand, it's not looking great, is it? We're going to come to all of that a little bit later on, and him and everything else too, for your opinions, your instincts, and who's to blame? We all know who's to blame, don't we? But it's. I think we need to vent about these things, don't we? Collectively, that's what Doctor Who fans do best. You can do that freely there in the live chat on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X, and we'll be connecting at various interludes. Okay, but it's not going to spoil the mood, because the sun is out in Britain. It's been sunny for about 2 or 3 days on the trot now, so it's going to end any day, isn't it? But it's an ideal occasion, I think, to pitch a tent. No, not like that. In the nicest possible way, to pitch the TARDIS tent up here and to maybe get some orange juice on the go and invite a few friends in. Well, I say in, 2 or 3. Maybe we could get our heads in, grown adults, but we'll see how we get on as the stream goes on. First of all, I think we may be able to get his head in. He may have to take his cap off, but I don't think that would be off-brand for Gary Akers.
Hello, sir. You know, boy, after our enforced 1 week hiatus, we are back stronger than ever. This actually, I think, is going to be a 5-hour show to make up for being off last week.
Oh, what? Speak for yourself.
Yes.
You're wearing the cap.
Well, we're going to be talking about ways to make Doctor Who great again today, so I figure this would be, in
many respects, Gary, I feel that Doctor Who is greater now than it was 3 weeks ago when the show was actually on.
It seems like all the different narratives keep popping up and prolonging this kind of ending, and it's.
I suppose you're right.
It's really something to see. Everything. Things die down for about 48, 72 hours, and then somebody says something or writes something, or something gets published, and then all of a sudden,
what
everybody's buzzing again.
There are certain people out there who are just talk about something they don't even have to name it, and then somebody pops up and contacts them, posts them, or responds to them on a social media platform. Do you mean Doctor Who? And they say, well, no, I don't, but... And then before you know it, rounds and rounds and reams of endless speculation. But to be fair, it is sort of what Doctor Who fans do best. Have you ever seen one of these TARDIS tents before, Gary? Did they have these in the States?
No, they do not have these in the States. This is, if I was the right age, meaning around the age that I am now, I would definitely get one of these. I'd put it up in my living room and sleep there.
Things of beauty. This was described as a spacious blue tent with a tubular frame. It comes with a clear plastic window, an inflatable light, and a console control panel inside there. So that's what it looks like when you go all around this this object of desire, I think, from the early 80s. I always wanted one of these when I was a kid. Sadly, it never happened for me. I never got to live the dream. But
have you ever tried to find one on eBay?
I have, and they go for a pretty penny or two.
Wow.
I don't mind telling you. But yeah, I haven't got one. Maybe they made their way down to where Matt Pott is. Matt Pott, you ever had a TARDIS tent?
No, we were poor. We had to have a we had to have a blanket over a table and a chair, and that was our little cubby.
Okay.
Simulate your TARDIS wherever you may
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, exactly.
Use a vase with some flowers in as the sort of central column. Yeah.
Was it a blue blanket?
Yeah, of course it was.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, Matt. It's good to see you. You're in a different setup, but you seem to move around every time I see you, changing the desktop theme just like the TARDIS.
Yeah, I'm a moon. I just move around every week, you know. Yeah.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah,
yes,
it's just like I need more space, you know, and suddenly I'm somewhere else.
Well, we always have the space if you've got the time. At least I think that's what I usually say. Okay,
Yep.
So let's bring on our final member of the panel this time. What's she got to say about TARDIS tents? These are from before her time, but maybe you ever seen one of these, Charlotte?
I've seen it on our show when like Simon and yourself have talked about it. I've never seen one properly. But I'm trying to think back, I don't think even in 2005 and like that great sort of relaunch of all the toys that came, I don't remember there being a tent. I could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing like a big sort of thing of literally a TARDIS.
I
And you think
believe there
surely
was
they would have done
one.
this again, this idea.
I believe there was one during the Matt Smith era, but I never actually saw one in the wild. So we've reverted to the classic model here with the window at the back, which is meant to be the sort of scanner screen.
That actually has so much. That has like smell-o-vision. I can smell the PVC from here.
Yes, it's because of the crinkles, isn't it, Matt, on the picture? It just gives you that smell in your head.
Oh, it's absolutely wonderful. Yes, this hails from the early 80s, and it was manufactured by a British company called Decca, and has gone on to become the stuff of legend ever since. Certainly, I always wanted one of these. It's strictly for kids. There's no way. It's just not happening for the main man there. But this guy, yeah. It's about right.
Okay.
This is the Doctor. This is the original Timeless Child, I think you could say, from the box art there, from the item itself as released in the early 80s, with obviously children playing the parts of the Doctor, Nyssa and Tegan there. This is so
That's
cute.
cute.
But I really wanted one of these.
I thought it was the Osmonds then.
Yeah, there's not much similarity, is there, between... In fact, those two girls, they look like twins, and they've just put their hair slightly differently.
Yeah,
I was
one
looking
gets
at
the
the-
updo, one gets the downdo.
I was looking at the dimensions. It looks like it's about 5 feet high. So there you go. I'm willing to bet that Simon Horton had one, and still has one of these.
You know what? If anybody has,
Anybody
it would
has,
be
he'll have
either
one.
him or Anthony Weiner. I'd say, but if either of those two gents hasn't got one of these, then it's not worth having. Would be
Or had it at once upon a time.
would be my guess. Obviously, it's perfect for us to hang out on a hot day in Great Britain. Only half of the panel are in Britain.
I just noticed. Go back to that picture. I can't
Yes.
believe I just noticed it. They're dressed like Nyssa and Tegan.
That's
Oh my
right.
We
Yeah.
just said that.
Oh my gosh, my brain
Dan
hasn't
actually
started
said
yet.
that.
My brain hasn't started yet.
It's
I'm
meant to be a
sorry.
sort of sandy planetscape. That could actually have been the set of Time Flights, to be fair to them.
I think when Dan said that, I was focused on trying to read the dimensions at the bottom of the thing to see how tall it was.
Fantastic stuff. Obviously, if you had or have one of these, not only am I still sadly, tragically jealous, but let us know in the live chats. Was the experience as good as 7-year-old me thought it might be to pilot this bad boy? We're all ears as always.
Could you imagine a modern version of that now? I mean, gosh, what you could do with it.
there'd be interactive component parts, and there'd be
Yeah,
noise
and
Yeah,
elements.
adult
Charlotte.
sized, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, and they'd have some sort of console in the middle, wouldn't they? Like it's
Yeah.
not obviously
Yeah,
as
they'd have
detailed,
wheelchair
but they'd be
access as well.
something.
Yeah.
It would have a
I think-
ramp on the front. Yeah.
They would think of absolutely anything and everything. Let us know what you think of that in the live chat. As always, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, X. As ever, we're waiting for your comments as well on all things Doctor Who. It may be off the screen for the time being, but it's always up for debate here and celebration, sort of. Type 40 Live. So we're following up the most lackluster season of Doctor Who since the last one, I suppose. Doctor Who has not had the best of times of late, and reaching the kids, I think that could be somewhere. If it's going to take a lot more than a TARDIS tent, isn't it? But yeah, you never know. You never know. We talked a couple of days ago about the CBeebies, that astonishing, surprising CBeebies proposal. So that was on the early edition on Monday. But just when you think you've sort of heard it all, and Doctor Who is about to sort of take the last one home, really, something else pops up. Doctor Who has once again startled the pop culture landscape by turning up. You're not going to believe this, Matt. It's turned up on a list of hopeful productions that are cited on, believe it or not, the Emmy Awards for 2025. Can you believe this? So the Emmy Awards, obviously, they recognise, it says on their official website, recognise and celebrate excellence in the television industry. They honour a wide range of categories, including programming, acting, writing, directing, and technical achievements. And this isn't just domestically in the USA, but internationally as well. So it's kind of like the Oscars are for film, the Emmys are for the telly. All well and good, but you'd be quite... What on earth has this got to do with Doctor Who when you look at that criteria? Well, believe it or not, according to this post by Randy Andy Pryor here, we talked about last week, the casting dude on Doctor Who for the last 20 years, he is boosting the signal here for Doctor Who to be under serious consideration as outstanding drama series at the 2025. Gary's laughing already. At the 2025. Oh, I can't keep it up anyway. At the 2025 Emmys. Andy says this show takes an extraordinary amount of dedication from every single person that works with it. I tell you what, you have to be dedicated to sit through 45 minutes of it as well, pal. He says it's joyous. Everything's always a joy, isn't it? It's joyous. It's a joyous, difficult, big old bear made with passion. I love it so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice that everybody that works on it is having a great time, Matt. But that doesn't necessarily...
There's a lot of I don't know about you, but it's a joyous, difficult, big old bear. Sounds a very like
smarter than the average bear.
Yeah, I don't know. It's got some sort of underlying theme with that particular.
Yeah, like it's
sentence.
Sort of past its time.
It's
like
no, but it's like it's like it's got a bit of a signal to it. So yeah, I don't know. It's just I think there's new terms, and that goes along with those terms. I think.
Well, in recent weeks, Randy Andy has proved himself to be a bit of a gobshite. I can understand him. I can understand him bigging up the project that he's been involved with for the last 20 years, and to want the people he's worked alongside to get the credit for their endeavours and loyalty. In all seriousness, I respect that. But seriously, after what we've just sat through for the last couple of months, we seem to get worse and worse and worse. And more to the point, a series that nobody was talking about, Charlotte. How can they seriously hope to get that outstanding drama series award from such a prestige body as the Emmys?
So I'm guessing that this is them campaigning then to basically get on the shortlist.
It's on the long list. It's a fucking long list.
On any list to do with the Emmys then. I can get why professionally they would all do this. Of course, it's your production. You've worked on it. You would want it to sort of be up there. But like, I think anybody outside of the production would look at that series, and for all the bits that did work, and there were bits of it that worked for me, but the overall
Titles were nice, weren't they?
experience.
Title sequence was nice.
Well, you had a couple of good actors, like scattered throughout the series. You had a couple of starts of a good idea, but just everything else, when it came to overall execution, your plot, your logic, actually paying off stuff, and just all the basic premises of writing were just dire. So I think, actually, if you put Doctor Who up against what usually gets put up with the Emmys, it would look really like a joke. It would look quite bad in comparison if you put it. So it's probably best not to have it up there.
I thought the Broadway the Broadway awards that they did recently was very much like, is that what that's called? Yeah, no, I was just looking at it, and I was seeing Jinx Monsoon and all those characters on there, and I was just like, that's where it belongs.
well, to be honest, like the actual, like the people that get presented these awards, dudes, you do usually roll your eyes. But usually with the Emmys, actually, it tends to be actually good dramas that get put up.
Should we take a look at what Doctor Who has got to look to beat to get? Yeah, this is look. It's one thing to aim high. Doctor Who has stepped up, supposedly, to sort of a global marketplace, again, a global stage. Fact is, it has failed to make any real impact, and most people really, by the time they realised that Doctor Who was back on telly, the series had ended.
Yeah.
You do wonder, though, when you look at the Emmys, obviously it is prestigious. And you know, these awards, they're not as important as they used to be, maybe, but within the industry they are. So you think, well, if these awards are for industry lovies like Randy Andy and what they consider to be quality, then I suppose you could say, well, that's up to them to judge, because I don't think the public get to vote in these. But I'd look to see, you know, what's Doctor Who going to be squaring up to? Anything with popular appeal, and it turns out, quite a lot of stuff actually. Shows like Severance and Slow Horses, both from Apple, real quality shows. Netflix Squid Game, that heads up the list as well, as does the new HBO Max show, The Pit, which everybody's been speaking about, the quality of that show too. There's the Star Wars series Andor as well in there, which, you know, maybe an acquired taste, but generally speaking, people are speaking about it favorably. At least we know it's been on, it's made an impact. And then there's Doctor Who.
That's what I mean. I think if you were to put it in a category with these things, it would actually really show its, like, highlight all the issues, and it would sort of be seen as, why is it here? Because weirdly, the Emmys do seem to be one of the shows that has kept a bit of sort of clout when it comes to what usually wins, is what I'm saying. Usually the people who do well at the Emmys, people go, no, actually that was a good show, or that was a good performance that won that year.
Doctor Who is simply listed as eligible. It's nowhere near the top.
So, when I used to work at the Hollywood Reporter, this is a standard thing that all of the studios and even individual actors do in the season leading up to the Oscar nominations and in the season leading up to the Emmy nominations. The trade publications are flooded with ads like this, like, for your consideration. They basically just want to bring it in front of the vision of Emmy voters when they're casting their ballot. And sometimes even individual actors can get their agents to try to buy like a page in one of the publications, you know, to get their name out there. Because, you know, if they won an Emmy, you know, that could be, you know, like a higher salary for your next project. Or if a show wins, that could, you know, decide renewal, you know. So they go all out in this season to get whatever show it is recognized.
If you remember, they used to have those the movie posters and that come out with nominated, but with three Academy Awards or whatever, Emmy nominations or whatever for you know, on Blu-ray or whatever, and on those covers. And so, you know, it's a bit of a, for them, it's a bit of a promotional point. But you know, I can't see this
I mean, I'm not even sure whether Doctor Who. I
Sorry.
mean, if the Acolyte was in there instead of Andor, I'm not sure Doctor Who would stand a chance.
It's just the delusion. Well, even Andor's splitting it a bit, but I was just like, could you see Gatwa against Gary Oldman?
Gary
for
Oldman.
goodness sake? This is called acting, and hopefully you would think some actors would actually, win. But,
Do they have a category for most incompetent writing? I think they might have a chance there.
I know one shouldn't mock the afflicted, but really, Shooty Gatwa next to any of these leads, the dude
Maybe-
from Adam Scott from Severance is just not.
Maybe they'll have
much.
Dougadoo win that win the award for the
Well, you never know.
musical.
I mean, I did wonder, am I, because I don't pay much attention to these awards ceremonies, who is up for them or who gets them. It's not on my radar. So I thought, well, for all I know, has Doctor Who got a track record with the Emmys? So I went well, you'd be surprised. It turns out that it has won an Emmy. This for Doctor Who: The Runaway. So
Oh, the
this
digital
What?
one they do.
This was I must apologise. It was an Emmy nomination. So it won an Emmy nomination in 2020 for Outstanding Derivative Interactive Program.
Yeah, they
With
do
Doctor
like
Who: The Runaway.
basically.
Very good for derivative, isn't it?
Well, it's sort of like without them saying it, they're sort of video game or something else. to a
Oh,
degree.
okay.
that
Derivative
would be-
Interactive Program.
Can
Yeah.
I just say that would probably be the afternoon Emmy Awards, not the
Yes.
night Emmy Awards. So that'd be like they'd show a flashback of all these people
Yeah.
that won awards like a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
but it didn't even win. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I must admit-
maybe if they have a category
not heard
for
of this.
best performance by an incel. Maybe Doctor Who could win that.
Here's the thing:
I
the only
think
thing
they're a
that
bit
I could
nasty.
see maybe is the set design, because I think the one thing that was shown quite well in the series just gone was in certain episodes and in certain scenes you could see the actual people who made the props and the sets did a very good job. So that's the only thing that I could see Doctor Who contending about, really.
Charlotte,
was only
which
one.
episode? If you had to pick one episode to put up for that award, which one would it be? The Wall.
Yeah, that was in my head, and like the looks, I remember quite liking how looks the production design on that was quite good,
fair
and like
play.
the effect of the cartoon was quite good. So stuff like that, yeah, I think Doctor Who is actually quite good with still.
Could they
It's the very
conceivably, and I'm being
definition of
serious,
slim
could they conceivably put up the Lux episode in an animation category?
It probably wasn't enough of it.
no, it'd be best special effects. That would be.
Oh,
Yeah, it'd
okay.
be special effects.
Okay.
I mean, I believe that Doctor Who's prospects for any award in the Emmys this year are laughable. I don't say that with any relish or seriousness.
Yeah.
At any time, it simply isn't good enough quality. But when you look at the shows we were just talking about, and House of the Dragons come back, you've got the White Lotus, The Last of Us, all these shows that people enjoy. Populist hits as well as things that the critics like. There's that one about the chef that's always losing his shit as well. That's popular as well. So you've got all these big. Is it called The Bear? So you've got all these another bear. So you've got all these high end dramas that people are genuinely excited about, and then there's Doctor Who sort of doing its own thing, and nobody really noticing it, and actually doing its own thing pretty badly. So sadly, I think this. It's just not going to fly. The period of eligibility that's already up. Nominations, they carry on right the way through until the 23rd of June. So just another few days before they've got to get their noms in. And it's all going to be announced on July the 15th. So it's a few weeks away from that. Will Doctor Who be there? What do you think? Let us know there in the live chat, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, X, obviously Andy. All the best with that, but I can't see it. I can't.
Good luck
see
in
it,
retirement.
Let's head over
he's
to the
not
live
gone.
chat. Let's head over to the live chat and see what they've got to say about Randy Andy's little claim there.
Welcome to Type 40.
Oh,
Thank
great.
you, everybody for joining us once again here for Type 40 Live. Lots of friends battling through. I see the insanity that we've just been speaking about over the last 5 minutes. Thank you, everybody. We have Dr. Oh, the chat is jumping. Is that a good sign? I don't know. I'm just going to go with it. Dr. Dread says hello. Oh, hello, Dr. Dread. I feel better, says Tom Hazel. Tom's feeling good.
That's good.
Yeah. About the Emmys, let us know. By all means, let us know. We have Richard Brooks as well. The award for diversity, inclusion, and equity. They're likely to have a category for that. Everybody else.
Every award.
Stephen Braddock loves the tent TARDIS from the 80s just as much as I do, by the sounds of things, and so do a great many people, I think. Michael Hallett is in Sack the Hack. Hashtag Sack the Hack, says Michael. I wonder who he could mean, Gary.
I wonder.
You never know, do you? Funky's in, and he says, I enjoy coming into live chats. Reminds me of being at the bar during conventions with fellow fans. That's very much the Type 40 way. The Type 40 effect. Bye-bye, Rusty. Says Woodhouse 1, 2, 2. And Stephen Braddock is celebrating no internet gremlins tonight. Well, unless you count Matt.
We don't feed him after midnight, so it should be okay.
Which one would you be, Matt? Mowgli or Spike? Which one do you think you'd...
Oh, I'm a Mowgli.
Yeah.
I'll go and hide in my box.
Mogwai. That's Gizmo.
Mogwai.
I'm a Mogwai.
Mowgli's the guy out of the Jungle Book. It's never getting completely mixed up. Stephen O'Neill says hello from a sun-kissed Wigan. It's the sun. It's getting to my head, affecting my memory. Richard is blimey, I thought he said he was on Grindr. I'm a Grindr contender. I'm a Grindr contender, not an Emmy
Shooty's not on there.
I thought I better not read. Contact has been made with Crimpling Doubloon. Good to know. Good to know. Oh, dear me. What else have we got? Let's work our way down and see if there's anything that's not obscene we can throw up on the screen. Tom's in from T-Dwarf Productions. Good to see you too.
Hey, Tom.
Tom and Michael has enjoyed the pictures of the TARDIS tent as well. Add a ghetto blaster and it's sorted there. It's a good idea. Don't know where you put it, but it's a good idea. I think my poles broke after a week, says Garbage. I think he's talking about the poles in the tent.
Well, I hope so.
I don't call it that.
Kind of pole. Evening, says Darren. Evening, Darren.
Hello, Darren.
Says Type 40. Good to see you, buddy. Hello, my dear friends, says Ashfin.
Hey,
Good to have you back, Ashfin. And we have, what else? I remember, it's Woodhouse 122. I remember Peter Davison gave one away on Saturday Superstore. Yes, that's one of the TARDIS tents. It was Peter with Mark Strickson and Janet Fielding were there, weren't they? And I think was that the one where Mark Strickson was allegedly, he'd been out on the Raz the night before, so he was really hungover, and they asked him to climb into the tent, which of course he was somewhat too large for. So he tried to sort of get in there and then back out again, and apparently he was like really, really hungover. So yeah, that
try to find that on YouTube.
I think. Oh, Luke's in the live chat. Luke is out for the evening, but he's just dropped by to say there was a police box tent wardrobe thing, but not a console one. That's mad. It is indeed mad. Madness. Absolute madness. Rose has joined us as well. So has Nicholas. Good to see you too. Mr. Matt says, I used to use my mum's washing machine as a TARDIS. You don't try and get inside that.
Do not do that, kids.
Yeah,
do not try that.
Unfortunately, it was
That
smaller on the
influencer
inside.
that's done that. She actually got in there with a phone and then locked the door behind her, and you could hear her screaming. So thankfully, she had a phone with her.
And then Matt's mom said, "You're 18. You need to stop doing that." So.
I could never fit in there.
Says, like you were saying, Matt, when we put the picture of the tent up on the screen, you said you could smell the PVC, the sort of plastic smell. And Gambit confirms he can smell it too, and he had one.
Yeah, definitely got a smell-o-vision there.
Get a snout full of that.
Oh, yeah. Could you imagine all the kids going to school the next day?
Where's Adric? Says Dr. Dread. I think he'd already bought the farm. No, you bite the big one and buy the farm. Or do you buy the big one and bite the farm? Whichever. He'd done it. He'd gone. Yeah, he'd gone.
Folks, we're half an hour in and Dan's already struggling.
I'm
Words out.
my chances of making it till 10. Just gloss over it. Are people impressed by the Emmys? Michael Hallett, no. I think we'll put him in the no pile. Nobody is that impressed with Doctor Who's Emmy prospects for 2025. An Emmy? What for? Best program in a foreign language? What was the foreign language? I don't know.
Oh no, they're all the same now. There aren't any foreign language
The
categories
foreign
now.
language the foreign language is just understanding a Russell script nowadays.
Neville says, doesn't everyone look happier now it's over? Well, most of us. There's one bloke who's definitely not. He doesn't sound very happy. We'll come to him in a little while. The Emmys for that pile of rubbish that was masquerading to be Doctor Who, let alone sensible drama. What a joke. The bar must be very low. The problem they've got is the bar is quite high, but nobody's told Russell T Davies, or certainly not Randy Handy. So they're in for somewhat of a disappointment. I trust you.
One thing to remember, unless I'm grossly mistaken, but I don't think I am, is that for some productions or studios, these nominations are kind of like a contractual obligation. It's like they do it as a matter of course.
Yeah.
That the production companies do. It's not because they're certain that their show warrants an Emmy. It's just in the contract that it gets put up for one.
Gets the boost. Yeah, mate, yeah, I can see the sense in that. In all fairness, I can, up to a point. It's a limit.
Yeah.
There's a limit. Whoever you are, food, glorious food. God, Jess, it sounds like food. It sounds like you've been in the pub, Jess. Enjoy.
Say, Jess, have you been watching Oliver? Because that's an Oliver lyric.
Yeah. Food, glorious food.
Speak his name and he shall appear. Back to the TARDIS tent with Anthony Weiner. Good evening, everyone. Yes, I have a TARDIS tent. Oh. Of course he does.
Pictures, or it didn't happen, Anthony.
A virtual tour on the panel.
Next week when we're live, you have to get in the tent in your garden. While we're streaming.
Oh,
I wonder if it's waterproof. Can you let us know?
Yeah. You get the cat to sort of take a whiz over the top if any comes in.
Right.
Enigmatic Joker joins us in the live chat. I'm sad that Ncuti Gatwa has gone.
I'm
says
not.
Enigmatic Joker. I suppose there's got to be one, I suppose. It's a first. Really? I don't know. Each to their own, e.g., each to their own. Yeah, I didn't want it to turn out the way that it did. But
definitely not. Now we're stuck in limbo. It's great.
Big fans of all the other shows that are up for an Emmy in the live chat, such as Severance and Slow Horses. We flushed the fans of all those quality shows out in the live chat. Jess had a curry takeout. There you go. Eating a curry, you can't be in Britain. It's too hot. I think even I couldn't go curry in this. No way. And Ncuti Gatwa's agent won't want any publicity for this show. Yeah, if rumors are to be believed. Enigmatic Joker says, I know I'm in the minority. I get a lot of shit for liking current Doctor Who. Well, that's unfair. Yeah, you shouldn't be taking S from anyone for the telly that you enjoy, in all fairness, mate. If you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it, and that's that.
Mm-hmm.
Or your opinion's welcome here. We may take the slash, but sincerely, you enjoy what you enjoy, mate. Steve Allen says, is Doctor Who really being put forward for an Emmy? Yes, sort of. Yeah, I agree. Gary, what Gary said there was probably apt, but even so, it is strange to see an industry figure such as Andy Pryor posting that. And did he get some clap back? Probably not, because obviously there's a lot of sycophants who reply to folks like that, isn't it? But I don't know. Peak Doctor Who deserved those sorts of considerations for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it did. And Emmy Who, says Lee Smith. Emmy Who, let us know. Instagram and X at Type40 Doctor Who. Drops a comment. Emmy Who is the question of the day. What could be worth your time and a lot shorter in viewing time is this latest piece from Doctor Who and the Mid-Journey. Our friend MJ has just published this extraordinary 4-minute version of the classic Big Finish Doctor Who drama Spare Parts, using all AI, the advancements, the latest advancements that MJ has been working on that story over, I think he's been doing it for 2 or 3 months, so quite a long period of time, just to put together kind of showreel of what's capable and how his skill set has expanded in line with the story that I know I love this, and you probably do as well if you've heard the original. It really is something special. So head over to Doctor Who and the Mid-Journey. There's an X channel as well as a YouTube channel. And if you hit the playlist here at Type 40, you can find my conversation with MJ there on Type 40 Extra from a few months ago, an exclusive interview talking all about the techniques and the programs that they use to create this stuff, and the pace of AI and its capabilities and things like that. Things have evolved quite a lot since I had this conversation with MJ. So we are going to revisit it at some point in the future. Stay tuned for that, and for this, the Type 40 podcast across all major podcatchers. There, reviews, previews, interviews, geek outs, and deep dives. That's at all major podcatchers, and our home feed at type40.podbean.com. This is Type 40 Live, and you're there with your comments. Thank you, everybody, for bringing it so far. There's a lot more to get stuck into, and it could get a bit uncomfortable for one, what did they say, hack in particular? I don't know. You're going to want to unload, I think, in the next item, and yeah, I think he deserves it. Absolutely. They're everywhere. She's everywhere. Just one comeback for Billie Piper isn't enough, is it?
She looks very tired.
It's all that duplication, isn't it? You don't know how long they've been running, do you? Yes. So Billie Piper is, I wouldn't say flavour of the month. I don't necessarily blame her, but she's certainly kind of woman of the month, woman of the hour when it comes to Doctor Who. The fact is that there's nobody else to look to at the moment, is there? Since this, really, we're a couple of weeks on from the season finale, and this image is still everywhere. I wouldn't say everybody is talking about it, but Doctor Who fandom is still reeling from it. There's no other word, the embarrassment of this, and the sinking feeling that Doctor Who has reached a creative low point. Just when you think they've found the bottom of the barrel, they seem to find more, don't they? So in the last couple of weeks since this happened, we've all been speculating quite a lot about where they could go, why Billie's there, who she's playing. Does it really look the way that it looks? Have they any idea themselves? And does Billie really know what she stepped into? We imagine that we may get some clue from the official magazine, Doctor Who magazine, because if there's one way of knowing whether a doctor is for real or not, it's usually because of the front cover to Doctor Who magazine. Traditionally, they announce it, they emblazon this statement on the cover when a new actor or actress takes the role. We get Colin Baker is the Doctor, Paul McGann is the Doctor. We get that headline, don't we? It's usually an iconic moment. I think a lot of these covers are now favourites, really. They've just published the new edition today with that cover, but there is ambiguity in the equation even there. So Billie Piper is the Doctor, ? Is this a statement of genuine confusion, or are they playing into the fiction as we saw play out at the very end of the reality war? What's your instinct about this, Charlotte?
I think they don't have a clue, because the BBC and Russell and the people who cut her at the end of that episode haven't come out and said whether she's a doctor yet. And I feel like on purpose they're banking on that. They in their deluded mind they think this sort of mystery box, this is she, isn't she, is actually healthy and good for the show, when in reality it's just causing more and more fans to sort of look at the state of the current show, like you said, and see it as this creative, they've run out of ideas. So I think some of them are playing coy on purpose. I've said this, I've got a feeling other parts of BBC and maybe Bad Wolf, not so much Russell, actually have sort of, they're gauging reaction. They're seeing how the fans are reacting to this. And if they've got any brain cells, if they're even looking properly, not just at their own selective vision, everybody's calling this out now. You've now got dead ringers doing that whole, I'm going to regenerate into Billy for clicks. It's everybody saying this is jumping the shark. This is ridiculous. So I think it's a bit of A, they don't know, and a bit of B, there's a bit of purposeful sort of baiting with issues and she going on.
Just a couple of months ago, Charlotte, I would have said, I would have argued against that. I'd have said, no, they wouldn't do that just for clicks, just for sensation, just to engage people on social media platforms. And then Russell started speaking about how he was deliberately making creative decisions that he feels would play well in on new media. This was not that long ago. We talked about this on the show, and that has certainly changed my perception of the man. And not only, you think, oh, come on, it's completely out of touch. But now I think they would do that. Yeah, I do.
Because I was like you, I was wondering with this, because I sort of thought, well, the first proper sign will be this cover. Because like you said, they've always announced it, even for Joe, for Fugitive Doctor, that isn't technically sort of had a whole story yet, really. She got a cover. She got the official sort of seal of being a doctor. So I was like, if Billy gets one, then this is the first sort of sign of, no, she's going to be 16. But I just think that she's going to be explained away more and more now, as I think the current theories going around is the TARDIS took over the body, so this is the TARDIS, or she's Bad Wolf, or she's the Moment. They picked the one actress who you could sort of explain this away with, because like you said, she's been back in different forms. If it was Freema, it would be harder to explain. But because it's Billy, you've got that leeway. So I think, like I said, they don't have a clue, with a mixture of Russell and co on purpose keeping people in the dark about this.
Was I naive, Matt, expecting anything else from this?
It just shouts desperation. It's like we have nothing else to talk about for the next however long.
3 years.
So, yeah. And I mean, it's got to survive. It's already on rocky ground from what I've heard, this magazine. So it's trying to continue to have people interested in it, really.
In all fairness, I don't blame the magazine itself, Matt, or its editor. No. Jason Quinn. It needs to meet its remit. It's the official magazine. It has to be seen to do everything it can to amplify the brand that it supports, I suppose.
Yeah, but are people really going to buy this just to see? Do they find out that to see if Billy Piper is the Doctor? I mean, you know that there's not going to be an answer. So why even pose the question for that magazine? If you buy that magazine, you're going to open it up to find out the answer, and it's not going to be in the magazine.
The public haven't been engaged by this question at all. People do just roll their eyes now when they mention Doctor Who, when they bring it up to me, Gary, or when I talk about it with somebody who's not in the fandom. Or most people in the fandom are at a very similar place, but anybody outside of the fandom, if they're aware of this, they just think, what?
Yeah, this shot, And even this shot on the cover her
Yeah.
head looks photoshopped. I have not seen a single shot where her head doesn't look like a floaty Photoshop on someone else's body. But, this shot has come to represent everything that is cynical and almost anti-creative about the show right now. This represents it all. And even the quote that they used there on the cover, stepping back onto the TARDIS was something I couldn't refuse. She didn't step back onto the TARDIS. She was shooting in London against a green screen. So I'm not really sure what that quote was all about. But it just kind of makes you tired. I just feel tired whenever I see this shot anymore.
That shot, and I'm like you, I'm not blaming the magazine because I don't think there is a good shot of that moment
You're
to
right,
pick
yeah.
from. But because it's sort of hyper focused, because it's the cover, and because it's sort of got the lighter background, it really emphasizes the face and the body. And all I thought when I looked at that, I was like, this looks like AI. It looks fake.
Yeah.
Like what a fan would create in like the first year if they were trying to do a regeneration.
I know this is
And
gonna may sound awful because I do like them, but it looks like one of them Blu-ray covers.
No,
for the
I
box
agree.
set.
I think the art director has done everything
They
that he
can.
can to try and polish this turd and to give it a bit of life and a bit of sort of spectacle and make it feel a bit more epic. The image has been worked on quite a lot, but the damage is done. Sadly, nobody can really work with this. The contents of Doctor Who magazine 618 include just a look at the jaw-dropping revelations in this year's season finale. Bloody hell. They've also got access all areas on the set of the two-part season finale, speaking to the director and some of the cast. They interviewed Juno Dawson, of all people. Less said about them, the better. The writers preview the next wave of the new Target novelizations. I keep forgetting they put those out. Good luck to them, I suppose. And there's a preview of 2 new books that are being put together by classic series legend Sophie Aldred, telling the story of Ace's iconic jacket, the one covered with all the badges. So there's that in there, as well as a report from the San Diego Comic-Con exhibition we talked about before, and lots of the usual regular features as well, plus the main event, which is Russell T Davies looks back at how the 15th Doctor's 2 seasons developed. We know how they developed and how it went, but he goes into some detail to some extent, and as it promises on the cover there, Russell T Davies on pathways to potential futures. Obviously, that is what's caught people's attention, because although there's going to be no answers as such, anything at all from the usually very talkative showrunner, any word at all from him right now is we're sort of hanging on it, aren't we? We're waiting for it as a fandom, because it really is as bad as it looks, and everybody can see it. So you look to the captain of the ship. Sadly, I just don't think there's much. There's much here. I don't think there's much that he can say. Obviously, Russell T Davies has had his own page in the magazine again since he returned to the showrunner's role, hasn't he, Gary? It's gone under different names. I think it's just the Russell T Davies page now. Yeah. And he does at least speak a little on this. We're not going to run through the whole piece. That wouldn't be fair on Doctor Who magazine. But seeing as this particular quote is absolutely everywhere, let's take a look at just a bit of what Russell said. So he says, no, not the end. Don't be mad. Doctor Who will never end. There are pathways leading to potential futures. So this would seem to point in the direction of things that he's alluded to before. If it doesn't get recommissioned, if this is the end, there's a version of Doctor Who that could go out late night on BBC Three on a budget of 15 quid. That's what this seems to be to me, Gary. It's him sort of reminding us that the series could potentially be reworked, reinvigorated, repurposed to fit where it needs to fit if it gets commissioned for whichever slot on whichever channel. I think that's what he's saying. He's trying to say that I think this is a kind of a tacit acceptance and acknowledgement and announcement of the fact that Disney are no longer in this partnership, and there's been a rug pull, but that it's not necessarily meaning of the end of the entire production. I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah, as you were saying, I think on Monday's show, they're never going to come out and say Disney's gone, and be definitive like that. They'll try to keep it positive. This lines up with that Robin Hood comment that he made, I think, at the screening of the premiere episode. Of course, and nobody's questioning that the show, if done well, of course, will have infinite, potential if you have actually creative people with the right focus and the right emphasis. Nobody's ever questioned that. I think the only thing that people have been questioning is, well, should there be like some kind of hiatus and a break before that happens? But nobody's ever said that the concept of the show itself is worn out and tired. I just think that the show's not, in my opinion, the show's not going to have any kind of future, potential or otherwise, unless Russell T. Davies is nowhere on any of the pathways to that future.
I think you could be right. He's evidently preoccupied with the idea because obviously he's heavily invested in Doctor Who, in his production, in this Doctor Who continuing, Matt, not just because he's already written, if it sounds like he's written the bulk of 2 seasons worth of scripts, and he's certainly got treatments. He knows where he wants it to go. Obviously, he'll also be taking a salary from this, so that's even more of an investment in it. But I think that where he's sort of running aground here, and the thing that he's not accepting, the signal that he's not receiving, is the fact that most of the people, the general public, don't care. They checked out long ago. But the people that he's speaking to in this magazine, the readership of the magazine and the dedicated fan base, our priority isn't necessarily the continuation of the series at all costs anymore. We don't want to see Doctor Who's future played out with the kind of quality or the lack of quality that has been on display over the last, well, let's be honest, 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind the stuff that he's banged out over the last 18 months. And that is something that I don't think has even occurred to him, Matt.
He's a dickhead with egg on his face. And unfortunately, he's got his tail between his legs and he's running away now. And he is obviously so embarrassed. And he can't admit it. He cannot admit it. Of course he can't admit it, because that would mean that he would be a failure again. And he has been so high for so long on everything else. He's ridden on Doctor Who's coattails for long enough, and now he's tripped over.
It's been very good to him, hasn't it, Matt?
Fallen off. Yeah, it's been his little cash cow for so long now, and he has really, really made the well dry now. And it's just, he is morally corrupt, and just, he is everything that he perceives and despises as, like, I know he has a problem with your government over there and that as well. And to him now, to us, he is like them. He knows that he has lost flavor of the month. And if he comes back, because he seems to have his little grubby little fingers in everything, if he does come back, there is going to be an outcry from most of the Doctor Who community. And I don't think he'll turn around and go, well, if I go, then Doctor Who dies. Let it die then, because we cannot continue with this garbage that has been perpetuated through for the last, well, like you said, Dan, 7 years, but I'm going to say 10 years. Capaldi was fantastic, but those stories stunk like a garbage tip that was like, 5 years old. So yeah, no. I hope he's gone, and obviously, he doesn't want to admit defeat, and I get that, but just don't. You're putting candy floss up our bums, really. So
Yeah,
just,
Charlotte?
this is Russell in a very flowery way saying the show's going on a hiatus. The show's going to go away for a while because they don't know what to do next. Sort of, if you compare this to when this era started with Russell coming back and Shooty, they filmed 2 series back to back. They filmed a spin-off. They were going to have the Whoniverse. They were going to have this and that and this and that. And it was just this. He even talked about Empire and the way he spoke. It was like it was going to be this massive success from the beginning. They were going to be like non-stop. No gap years. Remember, that was also something he sort of said at the beginning.
How many times have we put that up on screen?
That's what my point. He had such this sort of, it's going to be this big old machine again. It was going to be popular. It was going to be this. It was going to be everywhere. And by the end of 2 series, your first full Doctor run, because 10 was a sort of stopgap Doctor again, you're now having to say potential futures and potential this. It's to me, it's very clear. What I'm reading off his comments is Disney's walked away. But like we said, they're never going to admit to that officially. Because why else would you have potential there if you had your backer still?
Yeah.
If you had your streamer like Disney, why would there be this uncertainty suddenly in your own language?
Something has changed. Yeah, the path that they were on is not the path they're on now, and there's only one direction that points back to, man.
I think if they even announce a new streamer, they're not even going to mention Disney. They're going to say we're going to.
Oh no, they won't.
We've got a fantastic new streamer in Amazon or whatever idiot picks
I'd
this
be
up.
amazed if the word
and
Disney
it's-
ever passes Russell's lips in public again. He did go on to say, but we don't know what's happening yet. And while everyone works that out, I'll take a pause on this page. So he's got nothing to say to the fan base, to the readership in the meantime, until he has an answer on that pathway. He feels he's got nothing. So
do you notice he's distanced himself from that though?
Yes.
It's like everybody else's fault except his own. Everyone else work it out, It's like
he doesn't say. Let's be fair. He doesn't say everyone else. Everyone does include him. I think everyone in the equation.
No,
but I think that. But I think I agree. There's a distance here and a lack of accountability, which I find it troubling. But I think it's telling.
Yeah, I'm like you. He is talking about himself there because everyone would include the showrunner, you would think. But it's a very odd term of phrase. That's what stood out to me. I was like, surely you would be saying, oh, we're all working towards this. Or we're all...
Yeah.
Like, surely that's how you would speak. But everyone, in a weird way, is like you said, it is this almost a little bit stepping back. And I'm not saying, oh, he's quitting, he's not doing Doctor Who anymore, but it's a really odd term of phrase for the bloke that's meant to be your figurehead, that's meant to be your showrunner, that's meant to sort of be your public speaking head.
He's the face of Doctor Who,
He's the face,
isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
He's made himself.
Face.
Yeah.
And for him to now everyone. Like you said, this all shows that it's not going the way they thought.
He has to keep using phrases like Doctor Who will never end, and yet what's happening yet, and I'll take a pause, because if he can't keep pushing the fact that the show's ongoing, then he doesn't have to face the reality that what he did killed the show.
By vacating
in his own mind, it's not dead yet. It's And
I
hope
view by vacating his page in Doctor Who magazine, which I would imagine he wouldn't take a wage for that, take any kind of payment. It's the official magazine after all, and it's been very, very good to him. But to leave the page at this time, not hand it over to Jane Tranter or Scott Hank, anybody who he works with, or Pete McTighe even, with the spin-off coming up, by vacating this, when there's so much uncertainty in the air, and when the fandom is kind of united, sort of against him, maybe, but certainly in disappointment, to take away his voice completely, in my view, is an error of judgment, maybe even a dereliction of a manner of duty, a duty of care, you could argue.
Well, yeah, because we've got a void now. We already were having one the last couple of weeks because he hadn't said a lot. And now you're going to have questions over the future hanging over more than ever, I would argue. You've got an actress who, is she the Doctor? Isn't she the Doctor? Are you going to get a new streamer? There's these really big, important things now, which the fandom is naturally
Charlotte, even if he talks around his hat on this page for months on end, the fact that he's still there with us, or it's just to say, rather than I'll take a pause on this page, Pete will be here next month. He's going to jazz you up for the Sea Devils or whatever. You might roll your eyes and think, but at least it's something. At least it's kind of a positive.
Yeah.
At least it's kind of the party's sort of not stopped. But this just reads very deflating.
It does. It is odd that, like you said, he's got a spin-off. They've just done the CBeebies thing, so could you not talk about that? If they find a production company to sort of
just talk about being a fan. Just talk about the kind of guff that he has before.
Or my other thing was, Russell, okay, you don't want to talk about your production notes because this says to me you're not doing a lot of producing in the near future if you can't fill a column. But even if you can't do that, talk about the show. Talk about episodes that you love, or stuff you watched when you were a kid, or you.
Because that's why we became enamoured with him in the first place. Because we did feel that he was one of us, that he represented us, and it's like now I think he hasn't been able to do that for a while, but now he seems to have given up the pretense of even trying to do that.
Yeah, but to be fair, I wouldn't be surprised if I don't know because I'm not part of Doctor Who magazine, when was this written in relation to all the fallout of the finale? I don't know that.
I suspect it was written quite recently. They do put the magazine itself together over a period of several months. Different pieces get written in advance, sometimes for months back, sometimes a few weeks. But columns like this could have even have just been written in the last week and a half for all we know.
It makes me think, is this a response to, like you said, that finale? I think has, from what I've seen online, I know there's still some people that enjoyed it, and fair to you guys, you enjoy it. I'm not going to take that away from you. But the majority of the fans, basically after that finale, said Russell needs to go. That was the resounding comment that came out of it.
And they were massive supporters, weren't they?
Yeah,
and he'd have you believe that he doesn't use social media when we know he does. I mean, he says he uses it sparingly. I think he uses it more than he admits, and that's his own business. Fair enough. But if he's not listening to social media, if we take him at his word, we know he's listening to the mainstream media and to the reviews, and he'll certainly be aware of what was said on the Today program a couple of weeks ago. And obviously, since on Dead Ringers, I mean, obviously, this would have definitely been at the printers by the time the Dead Ringers had broadcast their skit, but the principle is exactly the same. So he did end his column by saying, hopefully we'll have news soon. And certainly the war between the land and the sea is about to break out. So there are great things ahead. So at least he does sort of mention that and assert that there are great things ahead. We've only got his word for that. He thought Jinx Monsoon was a great idea. Until then, it's been an absolute joy.
That's
no exclamation mark, but it was,
I'm sorry, you finished. It's been an absolute joy. That's how you finish a letter when you're not going to see a friend for a while.
It does read like a goodbye. Not a farewell.
No,
Not, as I say, not, oh, you know, Pete will be looking after you for the next 3 or 4 months. Enjoy your summer, and I'll see you when I see you. Nothing like that. Nothing as sort of friendly as that, as urbane or amusing, as warm as that. This reads like a press release.
I'd be interested to know, like, because I didn't collect any of the magazines. I only collected one during Jodie's era, and that was a one about the designs of Doctor Who. But I believe Chibnall had his own little thing in it too.
he did.
I'd be
Yeah,
interested
right.
to know how he signed off as well. You know,
Yeah, that's a good point.
because
I barely read. I mean, you think his scripts were bad. To hear him writing about himself, to read him writing about himself, my God, I think I read the first 2. After that, it was incredibly dull.
And also, people pointing out, past tense, it's been.
Yeah. I mean, part of me almost wishes that he would have quoted.
It's what he's not saying, Gary, isn't it?
Yeah. He should have used that Sarah Jane quote. I'm going to pack my goodies and I'm going home.
I don't want to be anywhere near his goodies.
I mean, who's to say? I mean, you know, maybe, you know, I mean, all creatives like this are, you know, he certainly has an ego about him, kind of an egomaniac, and Charlotte was exactly right. Probably what he thought would get, you know, waves of adulation, which is, I brought Billie Piper back instantly, even in our reaction show 5 minutes after the episode was over. We were kind of, you know, mocking the cynicism of something like that. And then everybody everywhere joined in on it. So, you know, I'm sure he's still processing that.
Lee Smith is leaving a review of Russell's page here. A dirty protest from Lee Smith on Russell T Davies' final column in the magazine for a little while. John is not impressed with the prospects for the EMMY either. Russell T Davies is out as showrunner, states Ezra Goldstein. It doesn't look like it. It looks like he's there for the time being, as long as this production is in place, because Bad Wolf have quite a length of time to run on their deal with BBC Studios. And quite frankly, I can't see Doctor Who being a Bad Wolf, remaining a Bad Wolf, and Russell T Davies not being in that equation somewhere. So I wouldn't bet on that at all.
Basically, wasn't he? So.
Hello, says Noodle Arms. He got found out, says the new Who hater. Doctor Who scandal, says Lee Smith. And Stephen says Russell T Davies has left everyone disappointed and upset. There are already fans who are in denial and feel betrayed. He should be having a duty of care towards them. Whereas Jerf suggests that Russell T Davies was heavily controlled by the BBC. Russell was under a lot of scrutiny for such a well-known IP. Now that he is Doctor Who, everyone just does what he says. He needed a lead on his collar. He certainly needed somebody to tell him no every now and again, Gary. We all need that. I mean, he put this stuff in his own bloody scripts.
Well, you know, that, I don't know, how long was it ago that he did that whole thing about, you know, he was so proud that nobody told him no. That in all of this saga was the biggest flashing red light, was that line when he said that he was proud that nobody ever could say no to him.
Yeah, and also we said this at the time, filming back-to-back seasons, not having that breathing space, that sort of taking stock, that showed overconfidence to me incredibly. Yeah.
Mistake after mistake after mistake. PJ Maybe's joined us in the live chat. I love PJ Maybe's picture. I said he would kill Doctor Who when I saw his first interview when he came back. He did not hide his plans for Doctor Who from the start. No, I don't suppose he did, come to think of it. And Z3PO's here as well. Hi, Z. Russell T Davies must be seething inside and wondering if he's completely past it now. You know, I'd like to think that he has had that moment of sort of self-reflection and realization. I'd say the odds are against it. I think he'd blame everybody else but himself. I mean, maybe I'm being unfair. We all have our moments, don't we? But to see people just want rid of this guy. We say, on one hand, we want to hear from him because we want some answers. Even if the answer is, yeah, that is it. Thank you for your support for the last 20 years. They go and watch something else. You know, just something. But silence and distance and disdain and also this kind of, well, you know, don't ask me. This kind of, I do think there's an abdication of duty here at play that maybe I'm over. Maybe that's an exaggeration, and it is still early days. It's just been a couple of weeks. But Lord Thoth says when idiots think they are smart. Now, I wouldn't call Russell T Davies an idiot by any stretch of the imagination. But I think the problem is, I think he believes that people like us are idiots.
Yes.
That's
what I'm thinking.
That's where the
he
problem
thinks he's
lies.
smarter than the idiots that are around him.
He views us as chuds, as consumers, and that fellow feeling that he used to have for us has been replaced by something else. I think he likes to think
that he's just
I think he likes to think, Matt, that he relates more to the younger ones, the fictional younger ones, the audience that he's been trying to chase. He relates to them, people that don't exist. People who believe in all manner of crazy stuff about all manner of hot button topics. He aligns with them. That's where his mind is at. Matrix Lords reminds us that Russell T Davies has co-written The War Between the Land and the Sea. Yes, of course he has.
That's our point. He could make the production column about that. There is things. This is the major thing that I just felt when the stuff dropped. It would make more sense to me if he was doing this, if A, it faded to black at the end of that episode and we didn't see who Shooty regenerated into. It would make more sense then. And if he wasn't still having spin-off material, I know we don't know when Between the Land and the Sea is going to air. Some are sort of speculating the end of this year. Some are speculating next year.
I've always said it'll be this year, and I'm sticking to that. I can't see them bumping this.
There's still Doctor Who material going out under Bad Wolf of some description. So surely it would make more sense to do this after that, when it probably is going to go very quiet, if they're still sort of having these potential futures he's talking about and potential pathways.
He's the one talking about potential. I mean, Matrix Lord goes on to say Russell T Davies dropped out of Doctor Who magazine because there was nothing to talk about. Nothing to talk about with Doctor Who. Are you having a laugh? There's plenty to talk about.
But
it hasn't stopped him before. He's been writing that column for a long, long time, and there's been plenty of months where there's been nothing in production, nothing he can necessarily say. But it's not that many words. It's not a high word count. I've read his page always. I've bought every single issue of this magazine. It's no great ask of him to spin a yarn or to let us in, to just talk about his latest miniature that he's had delivered, something like that. It's PR, nothing more. So it's not a press release, that page. I've got lots more comments from Mr. Matt as well.
To be honest, right now he needs to rebuild that relationship with his fandom. He needs to actually get some. Matt, I'm saying this knowing that it's a nigh on impossible task, but at least he could be looking to be trying by keeping that column, by just not talking about the current stuff, because I agree there probably is nothing to talk about technically, production wise.
There's nothing he can tell us until he tells it to us. Yeah. But keeping that channel open, I believe, is really, really important. Like I say, pass it on by all means, but to close a door like that, it's, as I say, there's no I'll see you in the autumn. It's like piss off, basically. Don't bother me. I'm gonna do whatever. Zach Witten says there's no one editing Russell's scripts except himself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Scott Hancock was there. He was listed as a script. I think there were 2 or 3, but what they did, I'd be surprised if they did a great deal. And finally, from Matrix Lord, he says Disney Plus is about to spend some money at Comic-Con in July to promote The War Between the Land and the Sea. Now, I've been speculating about this for a little while. I'd like to think there'll be a panel representing the spin-off at Comic-Con, but nothing has been announced yet. I don't think this is a certainty at all. And with the Disney deal now concluded, again, I'm sticking with that. The Disney are no longer, they'll not be in play any later. They may want to promote it. I don't know. I hope there is a panel, but we don't know that that's going to happen yet. And it's not to be taken as read that one will even happen at all, because Doctor Who, its presence at Comic-Con for several years now has been minimal. I wish Shooty had regenerated into Russell T Davies as Richard Knowles, Charlotte. I was thinking, could you imagine anything worse?
I don't
You
like
may as
that Photoshop in my head. No, really.
Oh dear. Yeah, neither does he. Boomer Doug says Russell T Davies is now only a figurehead. He killed Doctor Who dead. He made the fans see red. Now he is writing soap instead. He's going off to his Channel 4
Very
show.
good poetry.
I like it. He's going off to Channel 4 instead. I mean, to be fair, the Channel 4 show was also written quite a long time ago. I think that airs in October, but Channel 4's a different beast. They're in a very choppy situation themselves. There should have been an open-ended regeneration, like in the War Games, says Stephen O'Neill. Lots of people have lots of ideas about how this could have been avoided, the shit show that we're in right now. And keep on cooking, says Dalek Lives Matter. That sounds like the title of some sort of carry-on film, doesn't it? And we've got what else is here? Think Again says problem being, well, this is it. I mean, yeah, exactly. Think Again. I think if we expect any more of Russell T Davies at this point, maybe it is the case that, just like I was naive to expect any answers from Doctor Who magazine this month, Gary, that we may get some promo in there and some sweetener, expecting Russell T Davies to sense where we would be and sort of join us and rally us a little and be the kind of guy he used to be. I think, yeah, I shouldn't have expected that. He's not the same guy he was 20 years ago.
I don't want Russell T Davies. I have no interest in Russell T Davies being the standard bearer for the show. I mean, for any length of time. I mean, he's burned too many bridges. He's not the one that kind of has to carry the banner. The ones who will carry the banner are fan creators like MJ, Daryl Joyce, who, come up with these staggeringly creative animations on their own channels, which in an instant communicate the eternal magic that this show will be. I mean, you look back to '89 when Andrew Cartmel had to come up with a quick ending, when Survival was going to be the final show. So he came out with that beautiful comment from the Doctor about there's worlds out there where the sky's burning and city is made of songs, somewhere there's injustice, the tea's getting cold, we got work to do. And that was written under just as much kind of pressure in terms of we need to have something to round it off, and it was beautiful. And so when Russell was faced with that same task, what did he do? He did this, and the difference couldn't be more stark. Really?
We're gonna move on now, but yeah, a reminder: Doctor Who magazine 618 is on sale now from Panini, priced at an eye-watering $7.99 for the print edition. You can also get the digital edition from Pocket Mags. That's $6.99. So it's not that much. You get £1. It's not great, is it, Matt? It's not great.
No, but that's. I mean, God, it's better than video games. Video games, you won't even get any sort of discount.
Oh no,
it's the same price whether you. Yeah.
And
Charlotte knows.
I agree with Gary. I think if we can't look to Russell, as you say, think again, I think that maybe we can look to fan creators, just like you said, such as Philip Roy, their friend of the show,
yes.
Philip Roy, who's been working on Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion now for the best part of 2 years. What a guy. We've played the trailers on the show. Philip has been on the podcast along with his colleagues. They've talked extensively about the process. And yeah, we've been with him practically every step of the way. Phil has spoken. He's published an update to his social medias this week. And he said over on his Facebook page, that's a golden wrap on Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion. Golden wrap. That's not a chocolate bar. A golden wrap on Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion. We first put footage in the can in July 2023. I'm very proud of my talented band of actors and crew who have turned my 70, 80 film script into a reality and passed my expectations for what we could achieve. Now we crack on with post-production. Be patient. The film will arrive when it arrives, but I guarantee it'll be worth the wait. So that's how you write it, Russell. That's how you tell them. And publish these 2 new images as well of Phil himself there, Philip Roy as the Doctor in one of John Pertwee's sort of frilly shirts. It looks like he's chilling out at some sort of leaving do. Loads of opened, consumed bags of crisps there on a table in a conservative club or something like that, Charlotte. What a fabulous, evocative image. Even though we've only seen this Doctor speak and act in short bursts in trailers, I feel like I know this character already.
Yeah, Phil brings a real sort of grounded sort of authority. That's what I love from the bits you do see in the trailer. With a little bit of cheekiness, I've seen that as well, which I quite enjoy. So yeah. And what I like is that how much front and centre this Doctor has been in the trailers. Because sometimes with fan stuff, they sort of focus on other stuff. And I'm like, no, I want to see this Doctor, whoever you've got playing the role. So it's been lovely to see Phil on sort of full sort of show in all the material so far.
Congratulations on the golden wrap to everybody who's been working so hard, so dedicatedly on Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion. I can't wait to see how it all turns out. We'll get it when we get it. We'll see it when we see it. Here's that poster again. Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion. Beware his deadly sting. Starring Philip Roy, Mandy Rose, Lucas Edwards, Brian Smith, Leroy Delve. And the directors are Richard Roberts and Philip Roy. We'll have more information as soon as we get it. We can't wait for this. This is bound to show Russell T Davies, I think. And maybe Russell's looking forward to this. I don't know. Well, I think he's still got quite a lot on his mind. But now is about the time that we take a break for a little while, as always, to wet our whistle with the Type 40 Live Doctor Who ad break. Here it is. Golden faces and golden voices selling us all manner of bits of old tat from way, way back then in the television past. Type 40 Live Doctor Who ad break, still a fan favourite. We'll see you back here in a couple of minutes.
Character building Doctor Who. Build your adventures with all new construction microfigures. Cybermen, Smilers, Silurians, Weeping Angels, Daleks, and create new adventures with the Doctor and Amy. Visit characterbuilding.eu to download the Series 1 collector poster. 10 figures to collect plus 5 super rare figures. Collectible, constructible, compatible. Doctor Who construction microfigures from Character Building.
Today, we make the great pizza. But why? We sweat over the hot stove.
Pick up the pizza at the menu. Pick the fresh baked pizza. Pick the size you like. Make it as deep as you like. With as many toppings as you like.
Never have I tasted such a good pizza.
Sorry, Mama.
Pizza Hut, the home of the pizza.
Tell you what, mate, I'm knackered. Knocking off at the end of the day, girls with long blonde hair.
Winning a pony down at the dog and having a good swear.
doing the walls of the land before the bunker full up with coal.
Jelly lils and cockles, on top of scoring a goal. Having a salt
In every port,
a Turkish bar,
and a pint
not half.
of courage best. That's what I like. Standing here, having a beer, he knows how to pull a pint the best. Now listen here, it's lovely and clear and stands alone from all the rest. It's screaming cold
And really a classic.
it quenches your thirst.
You ain't brassy,
It's smooth and smashing,
tasty and great.
and drawn and handsome.
Cheers, mate.
It's courage best. That's what I like.
Imperial, famous brands doing famously.
Hey, welcome back to Type 40 Live, Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook with still more Doctor Who talk from across the Whoniverse, the past, the present, and the future. All sort of jumbled up and mixed up in a very sort of loose way. It comes out how it comes out, right? Anything, absolutely anything could happen. Well, within reason, of course. So I'm here with the panel. Where are they? How are they? Are they all better now? That's what we need to know. So I'm here with the panel. Got Gary Akers wearing the best hat in the Whoniverse, Charlotte Shields as well here, and Matt Pott and friends. I'm always fascinated by the various bits and pieces on Matt's mic while it's huddled down. Everybody there in the live chat too, dropping comments, chipping in, and generating a sense of sort of camaraderie, the kind of stuff that Russell T Davies can't be asked with anymore, it seems. So thank you everybody for sticking with and for adding your bits and pieces. Just been enjoying the jokes. Yeah. Our jokes? It can't be our jokes. You've been enjoying them. Daryl for Doctor Who showrunner says, Doug, well, anybody really. Would you take it, Daryl? That's what you need to know. Philip Roy is in the live chat. Good to see you, Phil. Very best wishes to you, mate. We're on your side always. And there's still votes for people such as Mark Gatiss. He's still very popular choice. It doesn't do anything for me either, Charlotte. I do love Mark's stuff, but it's just none of that crowd. Toby Whithouse, none of them.
No, that's the thing. That, like, it's sort of, I feel like Russell making such a hash job has sort of poisoned it for anybody in that circle now. I think the other thing that I'm seeing resoundingly is fresh blood. Like that term being used, we need another production that hasn't got ties to the past, because then they're less likely to rely on that past. They will want to make their own stuff. They'll want to make their own sort of legacy, like Russell did the first time round. But he can't escape that right now. He's just going backwards in every way, whether that's writing, casting, using characters, and you just can't seem to sort of create something that's going to last for the next 10 years.
I think the problem is that they've got no one else to that, unless they want the job. They've got no one that BBC can say, "Hey, you have to take this job. You have to produce Doctor Who for and."
Matt, there's so few people who work there on staff anymore. Most are freelancers.
No, that's what I'm saying. There's a vast difference between old and new Who, and you look at new Who now, and geez, even at this stage in new Who's, what's it been, 20 years? The other one went for 26 years. Even at 20 years, it was at its height, old Who. So, just look at it that way.
I would say so. I mean, the classic series of Doctor Who, as we often say, is more alive than ever in 2025. 36 years. Oh, ouch, Gary, that did hurt. 36 years nearly since it ended. The excitement around that original production, the 26 seasons, never seems to diminish. Of course, most of it since 2018 has centered around this, the Doctor Who collection on Blu-ray, those limited edition box sets, the standard editions that follow a short while after, all sort of contributes and plays into this this notion, this real sense of occasion, of something that we need to have on our shelves that's been generated by this line. It's to say that it is a prestige, I think he's putting it mildly. The amount of dedication, creativity, talent, and restoration that goes in to these, whichever season it is, none of them ever get left behind. they all get brushed up to look their very, very best and packaged so beautifully in artwork, special custom artwork from Lee Binding throughout, within, on top, inside and out. This is the kind of stuff that other fan bases could only dream about, I think. And when you speak to the fans of other shows, from particularly vintage shows like this from the 20th century, a lot of them would turn green with envy over the Doctor Who box sets. We're waiting to see what's coming next, because they're not fucking saying, even though it's been months since anything was said or even leaked, because we do like a leak, don't we? Well, in the nicest possible way. I like a leak, but then again, I'm getting up there in age. So if you're watching Lee Binding over on social media, he drips out here and there little clues, because I think he gets as impatient as we do, Gary, and he has dropped this little tease as to which season the next collection box set could consist of. Now, there are 4 colour series that are left to come. So that's season 11, the final John Pertwee season, that is. 2 Tom Baker seasons, 13 and 16. And then that last Peter Davison season, season 21. Plus, there's the remainder of the black and white stuff, which I think it's been accepted now being left till later in the range for a variety of reasons. Yeah. So the smart money is on this being one of the 4 colour ones, Gary. I'm looking. I'm doing my best. According to Lee, Lee's a good egg. I know he enjoys this sort of speculation as much as we do. This is meant to be hit the clue. Where do you think? What do this points to?
Well, okay. I'm going to discount season 11, because I don't think they've ever had 2 releases in a row for the same Doctor, and we just got season 7 in March. It could be the Jungle and Planet of Evil for season 13. It could be. I actually thought that this was, if you remember in Caves of Androzani, when they're trying to burn through the door into the bridge where the Doctor is, that kind of looked like the door, where it was kind of like a steel door with the red kind of radiating
the best
through.
Classic cliffhanger of all time.
Is that season 21? Could that be, for season 16? Is that the purple outfit Romana was wearing in Androids of Tara? It could be any one.
I'm a little bit worried that this kind of looks like the opening title sequence of the Shooter Gatwas season, Matt.
Oh.
Have you got any idea which one this could be?
I'm pretty sure it's season 13.
Okay, well, that's very confident.
Yeah, no, because when you look at it, they've already done the work for Pyramids of Mars, and so that's one show already done. So yeah, I think that they've probably done the rest, and it'll be another Tom Baker. Unfortunately, it's not what I would hope it would be, and be a classic earlier 1960s. One from
I would have liked another black and white one too, if I'm honest, Matt.
Yeah, I've missed those. I love black and white in HD. I really do.
Now,
anyway,
I know that friend of the show and sometime contributor Ian Levine knows which season is coming next, and he was uncharacteristically tight-lipped when I spoke to him about it. He didn't tell me which one it was. Ian has a boyish enthusiasm for most of Doctor Who, so I would imagine that took quite a lot from him, Charlotte. I think this is all a little bit of fun, and that it could be absolutely any season at all, and that all of this really does is actually bring back to the forefront of our minds, when we needed it the most, that which brings us all together, and Doctor Who's sort of, if not its halcyon days, because I'm not going to write off new Doctor Who altogether, but leaning back on the classic series in the way that Lee Binding has here is actually a really sensitive and empathic thing of him to do. I think it's quite likely that he sensed the way that we were all feeling, that you're probably feeling, because the fandom was united about what had played out on TV. And so I don't think this is necessarily an indicator that the next set is coming in the next few weeks.
Oh God, no.
But it was just nice to be sent something to be posted that's a little bit of fun, and it's quite refreshing. It reminds us why we love Doctor Who.
Well, it's nice to have somebody part of the creative side of Who and part of the sort of the proper commercial part of Who, just having a very nice open question to let's just have a guess, let's just have a bit of fun, like you said. These aren't to be taken seriously. I quite love the fact that Lee does these because we can all just sort of go back to talking about the show without the sort of the fire and the sort of, like you said, all the feelings Russell and that series got by the end of it in us. And it's just, and I agree with you, I think classic is increasingly, and this, New Who is what got me to this, to the show. Like, that was my starting point with Who. Matt's my favourite Doctor, so I've still got a lot of love and affection for New Who. But even I have to admit, classic is becoming increasingly the more sort of safer part for us to go to. It's the least sort of fiery, it's the least sort of charged part of the brand. It does seem to be...
Charlotte, if we start a conversation about the classic series, despite the fact that we've all got different tastes, it's usually 3 or 4 minutes into a conversation before we're all smiling for one reason or another.
Yeah, you can see it, and it's funny how people, like, in the chat and in the comments afterwards sort of say, God, you can see when you lot just get going and talking about the show and you're loving it again. And that is usually when classic comes up, or we do like a deep dive, like we've done with the 5 Doctors, and like certain classic Doctors in themselves, we've done that before. And I just think, and I also sort of think, it's lovely that I've said this before, Who is getting such a celebration classic Who now. It's sort of being sort of held up more, I feel, in the last 10 years than it was before that. And it's because of the collection sets. A lot of that is to do with the sort of the time and the effort and the love and the sort of the rediscovering of these episodes for people who were younger like me who didn't watch them originally. It's, but I've no idea what it is. I'm the worst at these. I'm rubbish at numbers for what episode it is. You guys are better, so I've no idea.
I've got a bloody clue. And you know what? They've never revealed a final artwork, Matt, where I've gone, oh yeah, I was right. You know, because Lee's done this several times. I'm never right. So
I think this is just a theory of mine, but I think it's the fact that with older Who, there's no baggage, whereas. No, and to be honest, they've done so much. They've added so much baggage to this newer version. Once I believe once they added the old version, the classic, into New Who, that is when all of a sudden you put one suitcase on top of another, and the other. It's just become an absolute mess, and I think that they should have really, in hindsight, kept it separate. And I think, you know,
classic Doctor Who exists as a sort of refuge. That's why we get annoyed when, because there are individuals associated with the stuff that they put out now, where they do tinker here and there with little things, stuff. But it's so and it does great on one a little, but for the most part, it's all done with a lot of care and sensitivity and respect too. So those 26 seasons do exist as somewhere where we can go to, Gary, and not necessarily always get what we expect, because I watch so many classic stories over again and see something different, but at least feel that thing that we need to feel, that means that Doctor Who is our comfort place.
Well, that's that's one of the things that for me I found really is one of the gifts of these collection sets, because especially since they lavish such care and love on all of the stories, that really, if you're revisiting a story that maybe has a reputation for being not as good or whatever, and it's like seeing it with new eyes for the first time, and you can kind of appreciate things that you didn't appreciate before. I love being online the day that these the new titles are announced, because everybody just kind of goes crazy. Everybody's going, wow, this is so great. And then especially if there's like a trailer with where you know what some of the extras are, people are going, oh, I can't wait to see that extra. I can't wait for that extra. That's going to be so good. You know, everybody is just so up on the days that these are announced. And for me,
it doesn't matter which your favorite decade or season is, everybody sort of gets on board.
Yeah, because everybody knows that, you know, it's going to be, you know, several stories of great Doctor Who done by creators that were, you know, trying their best, and the actors who were all into it. I mean, on the days when the set arrives is always kind of like Christmas to me. You know, just sitting down, deciding which one I'm going to watch first. It's just great. So, I mean, whichever one of the 4 color ones is next, I can't wait for any of them. I will honestly take whichever one they want to give. I'm eager. I'm equally eager for different reasons for any of the last 4.
Just with us bringing up this topic now, I've seen, Lee was in the live chat there, season 13, and it's like people just, you know, it's all part of the fun. It's like, I want this, I want that, or I think it's this, or I think it's that. And I don't actually do that. Because I'm buying them all anyway. I think I'll get it, whatever. But it is fun, you know, seeing people react like that. I just think it brings out the little boy or little girl in everyone, including Who Color. That's Scott. There, good to see you, pal.
Hi,
Did somebody say Battlefield? You see what I mean? It's like, this is Battlefield, which legend would have you believe. People, yeah, it's like, I love it so much, but any story, particularly of the classic era, I think is someone's favorite. And it's like, oh, ears prick up, and I love it. Ship and Shaw. What a great name. I have all the Blu-rays released. Haven't even unwrapped them. What?
Oh, that's
Gary, we need to visit this person's abode.
I can't wrap my mind around that.
Oh,
Rip away all the polythene.
You didn't finish the rest, though. It's because his interest has waned.
I'm getting round to that. I was sort of recovering from the shock. Yes, it hasn't even unwrapped them. My interest in Doctor Who has waned so much thanks to Russell T Davies. See, that would be the opposite of the effect that Russell T Davies thinks he's having on people.
Yeah.
I would encourage you to get all these DVDs on a shelf. And Gary, if I was Ship and Shaw, I'd sort of close my eyes, I sort of fumble around and just pick the first one out, unwrap it, and pick a story, or get a loved one to put all the numbers in a tombola for you, and you pick one out and just go with that. Be brave, Ship and Shaw. Be brave.
I mean, my heart goes out to Ship and Shaw. I mean, obviously that's kind of a sad thing, but I would just say that there's a reason why these stories have lasted so deep in our memory over decades, and the shallow stuff that's being tossed out now, and I can't dent that. I mean, because there's such a power to these stories.
You've literally been saying the word every time that we've been talking about classic, and that is story.
Yeah.
Whereas each episode of Doctor Who from the classic series had a story in it. Whatever this stuff has been coming out, it's just not had a story to it. It's just been scenes linked together that haven't really made sense, and it's been mostly about the Doctor
because the talking points or the points they want to hammer, the point they want to hammer home, the ideological statement they want to underline, or that which they wish to assert is actually the driving force behind them bringing the thing to the screen in the first place, rather than that compulsion to tell a decent story.
To them, it's got a moral,
and
you know.
I like the fact that there's something for everybody with this range as well. So Richard says, "I love the collection, but I'm collecting the standard edition. And what will the next one be?" So there is, depending on your preference, whether you like the big chunky boxes or the slimmer ones, for whatever reason, there's options there for you as well. So people aren't excluded. I just want to mention Jess in the live chat. A shout out to Jane Michael Straczynski. Yes, he is in the UK with his team. Doctor Who. That's Jess. I have chosen not to pick up on this because There's simply no truth in this at all.
No,
Firstly, he's not in the UK with his team. JMS, who is a man of some years now, has emigrated, and he's not working on Doctor Who. This is just a nothing burger, I think they call them. I love JMS. Really, Babylon 5, seminal sci-fi show, but it is some years ago now. And I understand and I respect his enthusiasm for Doctor Who, but really, it's barely worth talking about. But no, there's no team. The man's emigrated, and he's exploring creative opportunities and ideas, and maybe making relationships. I don't know, but the chances of them being Doctor Who are very, very remote. I'd love to see him write for the show, but certainly the idea that's floating around there that some mainstream outlets are picking up on as well. There's just no truth in it at all. So if there was some truth in it, I'd have spoken about it. Or if there was any kind of likelihood of there being truth in it, we would have talked about it. But shout out always to JMS. He really was great. Babylon 5 was terrific, certainly. And people making the same sort of points that we have. And leaving there, I think some people watch the whole series, obviously all in one. Others pick their favourite stories out. But again, you do you, as I always say, you do you. And then, of course, there's the features, there's the reunions of our favourite characters, doctors, companions, and whoever they can manage to pull back in, really. I'm never not surprised. We may have lost these bespoke mini-episode trailers for the time being. I'm convinced we haven't seen the back of them completely, though. So never say never. Maybe we'll see some more of those. The incredible interviews that Matthew Sweet conducts with various Doctor Who figures, including the dreaded Michael Grade. Unmissable. I go straight for these every time. And then there's the inventive, sort of creative and amusing items that go alongside them, such as a regular Type 40 panelist, Chris Walker-Thompson there with John Colshaw, having a walk around the location to the Five Doctors there and recreating the double act of the Second Doctor and the Brigadier from that story. These are all things that kind of fans wish we could do. And Chris and John, they get to do them, and we get to go along for the ride. And this is that sort of sense of camaraderie and warmth that New Who used to have this when it came back. It did. But I don't think Russell's really aware. John is certainly aware if you've seen the Dead Ringers. If you've seen the Dead Ringers thing. And of course, it's all brought together there in some incredible packaging. I mean, these really do look stunning.
Yeah. And
when they're all collected up on a shelf, they're worth making house space for, I think. So the collection is about to resume. As you can tell, Charlotte, I've not got the faintest idea which one's coming next. No. But we're now down to 4 colour and a few black and white. Obviously, let us know in the comments, where do you think the smart money is? I agree with you, Gary. I think a Pertwee season is unlikely, but anything could happen because it's been some months since the last.
Yeah, I mean, it's been March, so what, 3 months? So, yeah, I'm kind of starting to go into withdrawal for an announcement. So please, I hope they announce something, any day. That would be great.
Here's hoping.
Steve, I mean, Dan, let me ask you, I mean, I would think, I may be wrong. I mean, you probably have a wider view than I do. I would have to think that in terms of like just Doctor Who merchandise, period, that these collections and maybe the animations have to be like carrying most of the merch sales for this franchise right now, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say that's a given.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we don't know. Sales figures are published, and we're able to gauge when we look at the top 10, the top 20, the top 50, how long stuff stays in the charts. And obviously Amazon too have got a list. They have lists up. They have their pre-orders as well as the stuff that people are buying. So you can get a general way to judge the buzz around any release of any kind. None of us are psychic, obviously. And there's a danger that we can see the things we want to see, but no, it's not a big reach. It's not unreasonable to say that Doctor Who, that classic Doctor Who, is doing considerably better than any of the things that have come since either New Who or All New Who. Right, Cal? Yeah. She agrees. So, we're all sort of waiting for the show to start again, for the confirmation of which the next release will be. And when that news comes, of course, we'll be all over it here at Type 40 Live, as always, as the collection inches its way to a completion, certainly in the classic sense. Let us know, where do you think the smart money is? Which set's coming next? Do you agree with the decision to leave the black and white stuff until later? Or do you think that's a little bit short-sighted? And what do you think? Why haven't we heard anything for so long? Because Lee Binding was right away publicising this line, wasn't he? The brand again, the merchandise again. Do you think there was an edict there from Russell T Davies that, he knows that we enjoy these box sets, and God knows he doesn't want us enjoying ourselves too much, does he? Do you think there was something passed down that maybe not to publicise the Blu-ray range because it was taking attention away from the stuff that he was about to bring to the television? That's something that struck me recently, Gary, because that radio silence for all that time while he trotted out the season 2, I don't know. I think it was too precise not to have been blocked out time,
I understand not wanting to have this happen while the show's actually on the air, but it's not on the air anymore. So, and like you said, quality wise, any of these 4 seasons, any of these 4 remaining color seasons would just, the current stuff would wither in comparison. And I'm sure he didn't want that.
Wither on the vine.
I would say it's probably a different audience, different kind of fan audience that would buy the collection, like as soon as it comes out, Blu-ray, versus the ones that would watch the show. Because the collection is sort of, rightfully so, cultivated the part of the fandom that absolutely adores it. So I for me, there wouldn't be a competition there.
I think there is 2 different types of fans now. I think that there's fans of the old Who and the new Who, and so I think they're 2 totally different things to me, anyway. But,
there is a divide there.
I guess I was talking really more kind of about, you're both are right. I guess I was talking more about like the optics of having the current show being the narrative on the current show of how far did the ratings fall this week, and then when these collections come out within 24 hours they're already #1 on Amazon for X number of weeks. I think it's like the optics of that they probably didn't.
Okay, maybe want. I don't know.
It's people have mentioned this in the live chat, so it's only fair. Is it fair to acknowledge that, according to the blurb, Doctor Who fans can bring home the 15th Doctor's complete 2nd season of adventures on a variety of formats from the 18th of August, 2025. Here they are. So you've got a choice of either the DVD, the Blu-ray, or a Blu-ray Steelbook. The DVD there on the left, that's £39.99. The Blu-ray on the right, that's £49.99. And that Steelbook in the middle with that custom artwork is £59.99 for those 8 episodes. And you get Joy to the World, the Christmas special in there as well. And I won't say lots of features, but several features. I think this is overpriced myself, but for 9 episodes.
Talking about overpriced, I'm surprised there's no 4K version, because it was filmed in 4K.
It's on the iPlayer and Dolby HD as well, Matt.
Dolby Vision and all that for Disney, and I'm surprised, but I'm really not surprised because the cost of doing 4K discs is very prohibitive. So obviously they've gone the cheap route. They're not going to make their money back on 4K. I can tell you that. So yeah, I can see why they'd do the DVD and that, but yeah.
Are they serious with that price? I mean, $49.99 for this. £5 more, you can get the limited edition season 7 a collection set for £5 more. I mean, I don't know what they're thinking pricing it that high.
When you put it like that,
8 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this is 8 episodes, isn't it?
So nowadays it's a very small episode count. And like
They go on to remind us that the Doctor and Belinda travel across time and space, Charlotte, and face robots, monsters, and gods in the journey to get Belinda home. I'd forgotten all about that.
well, so did the series, funnily enough. Yeah, it's just I think every series, the new series, has to have this sort of lavish. I mean, as like as part of the scheduling, they get the steelbook, they get the DVD, but like you said, that's really expensive for something that you've got a smaller episode count. You usually don't get a lot of extras nowadays unless they've suddenly started to put 10 ton of extras on.
No, there's not many here. There are some, but it looks pretty pathetic, Matt, when you line them up to the stuff on the special editions or even the DVD releases back in the noughties for the Eccleston, the Tennant, and the Smith seasons in particular. So it's 7 discs full of content. The first disc is Joy to the World and all the features. You get on discs 2 to 5, you get season 2 itself, and the remaining 2 discs are made up of all the episodes of Doctor Who Unleashed, the spin-off show that covers the making of the season there. That's usually on BBC Three and the iPlayer. So everything, I suppose, is there, but it's a question, obviously, of how much you enjoyed the season or not, how much of a completist you are or not, as to whether
the audience.
This is a viable purchase, Matt. Yet again, so let's look at the prices again. A reminder, I can't quite believe it. $39.99 for the DVD. The Blu-ray's $49.99, or there's that steel book option, $59.99. That seems a lot to me, even with this artwork. I do like this artwork, and I don't always when it comes to the steel books. But God, that does seem expensive. But those are your options there. And knock yourselves out. Let us know which one you go for. Are you still a completist? Let us know in the live chat. I think a lot of people have broken that habit. Understandably, it's all out on the 18th of August, 2025. Wherever you get your DVDs, Blu-rays, and steelbooks, it'll be there. We'll be keeping an eye on how well it does as well, because we're Doctor Who fans, and that is what we do. Season 2 is in the rearview mirror, thank heaven. We're turning the page here at Type 40 Life very, very eagerly as well. But at least we're doing it with a smile on our faces, and we're bringing you along with us as well in a way that Russell T Davies can't be bothered there on his column in Doctor Who magazine. So let's know what you think. Are you going to pick up the season 2 release, and what do you reckon is the season that's going to be the next to join the range of the Doctor Who collection, the limited edition collection of Blu-rays? We know one's coming. We've got no idea when. We're just going to have to wait and see, aren't we? But I agree with you, Gary. I think as soon as they announce that, you'll see a kind of a rush of energy again, and of camaraderie. And we'll see. People talking about the season 2 set. Lee says, I wouldn't buy it even if it brought world peace.
But I do have to go, everybody, because of the hotness. I think I had an earlier call tonight, so I will see you all on Monday.
Bye, Charlotte.
See you soon,
Have a good
Charlotte.
weekend.
Thank you again. Good night. Good night. Mr. Matt says, I'm kind of a completist, but not a sadist.
I used to be one of those. Now I'm not either.
Yeah.
Matrix Lord says he's not a completist after The Last Jedi, and season 2 could be discounted and be sold for 50p in a charity shop in a few years' time. Well, physical media, people still buy DVDs, don't they? But I think expecting to shift them that kind of price point, I think, well, not at $39.99. They don't.
I'm honestly boggled by, Dan, you said discs 2 to 5 was the season, so 8 hours of material. And Blu-rays, as all three of us know, you can fit a huge amount of data on a Blu-ray, but so they have 8 episodes that can fit in 4 Blu-rays. They must have several truckloads of extras if they're going to make that worth, that many discs on this release.
Well, they must have two episodes on each disc. So, and maybe
it's very nice. And the people who do collect these, I know, are all about them, and some of them are highly collectible and cost a lot of money if you want to try and get them on the second-hand market. Ashvin says, I'm pretty sure the season 1 to 4 Blu-ray re-release was around the same price. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's an expensive doorstop, says Stephen Braddock. And Funky says they still need to release on DVD because it's the biggest seller compared to Blu-ray or 4K. Yeah, it's quite right. They still DVD still sells well. It's still the sort of the preferred option, really.
I'd be interested to know how long the rights are for Disney to actually show this particular last 2 seasons for, because a lot of people probably won't pick up the Blu-rays unless they, like you say, they are a completist, because you can watch good quality enough through streaming for that. So I don't know how long that was all set up for. Dan, you probably know more than I do, but
in this instance, I haven't the faintest idea. It could be any length of time. It could be indefinitely. Could. I have not heard one way or another. I mean, I haven't heard one way or the other. I have heard some things, maybe for another time. We shall see. But let us know what you think, if you're going to pull the trigger on the season 2 set in any of those formats, or are you just like we are and simply waiting for the next release of the classic set? In the meantime, wherever you put it, it's always going to stink, isn't it? That's how we're going to feel about season 2 here. I accept results are going to vary. Some people out there enjoyed it, or at least they insist that they did, and that's fine. Obviously, you're still welcome here. I am quite happy to turn the page, close the door. We've put plenty of paper down, and we're going to give it a few flushes and do our level best. Aha!
Perfect. Just the person I need to see. Firstly, loving the outfit, by the way. Really suits your hair. Secondly, the universe is falling apart. I don't have much time to yet. I need to shoot off. I need to do something. But by all means, this is imperative. Watch Type 40. Type 40 podcast is where you need to be. Seguida!
Still not looking too well, is he, Gary? Even the Blu-ray talk couldn't cheer up Russell T. Davies.
That's probably how he'll look when he sees that the next collection's #1 on Amazon again, and then he'll see the sales figures for season 2.
The audience. We're still waiting on the audience ratings, aren't we?
Yes, that's right. Maybe you know what? That's okay. If that's how they should promote this season 2 box set, say that exclusive to that box set, they actually will release the AAI figures for the episodes, but you can only get them if you buy the box set. That may do it.
Ooh, would they? Oh. What an amusing thought, Gary. What amusing. I don't think he's very amused by that. We are amused, though, as always. We fly the flag for the talent, the dedication, and creativity that exists in the Doctor Who fandom. We talked about Phil's fabulous fan film project earlier on. That's just the tip of the iceberg, isn't it? The Doctor Who fandom knows no bounds. Thank heaven, because we need more artwork to fill up these bloody great big grey walls. So get it into us, whether it's digital art or traditional art. Could be cosplay or crafting or anything creative. We'd love to see it, and pin it up or lay it down here to have a good look at, and our honest critiques of the Pretty Pictures Gallery is a long-standing segment of Type 40 Live. We wouldn't have it any other way. Okay, so recent happenings in Doctor Who have ignited a fire under the feet of the creatives out there in the Doctor Who fandom. You won't be surprised to learn, Matt, some are not as happy to see Ncuti Gatwa go as we are. Some people, believe it or not, are lamenting the departure of the one that cries.
Oh, I believe it.
The one in the skirt. And this piece by Leloy sort of clumps together the 15th Doctor with other short-lived Doctors whilst they drown their sorrows. I like to think that the 15th Doctor, along with the 8th and the 9th, could be heading off down the pub here to to celebrate.
I'd watch
the
it,
end.
boys. I'd watch it, boys. You got a bit of a sandwich there.
It's the pub, or maybe to I certainly wouldn't let him pick the bar. Let's put it that way. You could end up
That's
anywhere.
a hot dog, that is.
Yes. So I do kind of like this. I like Leroy's work. I think it's always fun.
Yeah, very nice.
I like the
Very
colours that they choose. And in all fairness, I do kind of like the sentiment behind this as another era closes out.
Yeah, I like the McGann.
McGann looks
like
like
this
he's got the sort of the 9 o'clock shadow on the go.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it's the colours and the kind of the way they're all sort of arms around one another. Yeah. I sort of like this. Let's have a look in the live chat. I'm not reading that out, PJ. Cool picture. I like it. Says Hugh and Erdley. Hey, get your coat, lads. You've pulled. Says.
I mean, I think in this picture, the Night Doctor saying, "Hey, have you met my companion Rose?" And the Shooty's going, "Oh, hey, I turned into her."
Stuck between a Scouser and a Mank. Bad news for Shooty. They'd have so much to talk about, wouldn't they? And Dr.
Isn't
Dread.
it funny that we wouldn't even be talking about this if we hadn't had Gatwa, you know?
Yeah.
This sort of thing. Because it's like, it's just doesn't belong in Doctor Who at all.
No. And I think the fact, what I've always said is that Doctor Who, I agree with Paul McGann, Doctor Who is a hair part and it's a lapels part as well. Shooty just doesn't look like the Doctor in that outfit. And that's the one that he departed
it's not
wearing.
Serious. I mean, people do not. I mean, where I live, people do not walk around on the street like that.
Yeah,
and it's just
it's
just silly. It's become an embarrassing joke, and it's just sad that we just can't take Doctor Who seriously anymore. You know.
The art techniques are very
but
nice.
I do love the art. The art's very nice, yeah.
Yeah, I like the techniques of this. And it's got that kind of slightly anime quality whereby, the likenesses, they're hardly dead ringers for the characters.
I don't care about that. It's just that I think
the spirit of
they're
it.
actually likable. Yeah, they're actually likable. Even Shooty is likable, you know.
Matrix Lord doesn't like it. Ezra Goldstein says it's okay. Lee sort of says a similar thing. It's well composed, but I'd use reference photos from the likenesses rather than going from memory. I think this is very much Leroy's style.
Yeah.
I think the likeness is too far off in some respects with McGann, but I love the rest of it so much and the color palette. Yeah, I like that.
I mean, you can't have it too realistic. If you want it realistic, then just do it. Just take a photograph. That's what I always say. I mean, I've done caricature and that sort of thing, and I'm sure you have too, Dan. And
most of my work.
You add a lot of yourself into that caricature. So, I'd never draw Shooty. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Never been moved to. No. It's like a court report cartoon says Woodhouse 122.
True. Very true. Wow. Yes, he's
Brilliant. Right. We've got hello from Bookie. Good to see you, Bookie.
Hello, Bookie.
Lord Thoth confesses I have zero artistic talent, so I appreciate artists.
Absolutely.
And Jess says it's very au natural. Au natural. So that's Leroy over on Instagram and X. Lots of really fun art from this account. I never really know what they're going to produce next. And there's always little quirky ideas such as this. Some of them land and some of them don't. But again, it's better than having an endless array of kind of photoshopped stuff and Ghibli style images. I think there's just something distinctive about Leroy's style that I felt was worth.
I don't think you can be ever critical of other people's art.
Correct. Yes.
Because everybody has their own style and everything, and it's just if you want to do something, then you go off and do it yourself. If you can't, then don't bother and just keep your mouth shut. I'm talking from experience.
Some people take criticism better than others. Earlier on, we looked at a bit of AI artwork, and we've got some more coming up in a little while. But yeah, some people take criticism better than others, such as Russell T Davies here.
Love it.
Oh,
Russell T Davis. So yeah, he's not looked in the best of spirits all evening. We keep checking in on him, but he's finally, I think it's all proven a bit too much. Our conversations on this edition of the show and your comments there
Brilliant.
on YouTube,
Brilliant.
Rumble, Facebook, and X. I think you've been quite kind under the circumstances, but he's wounded, and he's been comforted here though by the late great John Nathan Turner, his predecessor as producer, executive producer, whatever you want to call it, of Doctor Who, way back then. There they are in this fabulous piece of artwork from Spanky Backpack. Yes,
clearly Russell just heard the Dead Ringers sketch right before this picture.
Yeah, he's suddenly
I'd use that as
deleted the BBC
his
Sounds app.
memoriam. I would.
John Nathan Turner obviously passed away in 2002. We've all seen the pictures of him in his fabled office before, plastered with pictures, promo pictures from his time on the series and his time working in television as well. There's all Creatures stuff there, as well as the various trinkets that line his shelf. There's a Cyberman and a Leela action figure, various Target books and albums, all that kind of thing. I've always liked this picture, and I think that looks like a hardback edition of Time Flight. That
I think you're right.
There, clutching to his chest. There, maybe he's given it the approval, final approval, and that's where Spanky Backpack has taken inspiration here to bring JNT back, JNT and RTD2 in 2025. There, this is just fantastic.
This picture's a keeper.
I'll send it to you later. What have we got in the live chat? Philip Roy says that looks like Hayley Cropper from Corrie above the sci-fi on the left. She could be the next Doctor. Yeah, Russell would probably cast her. To be fair, she's actually quite a good actress. I've seen her in other things, but not if she looked like Hayley Cropper. It was a very strange haircut. Ha 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 ha, says Ezra Goldstein. I think he likes that one. Is that a bong? Woodhouse 1, 2, 2. What in J&T's office?
Yeah, in J&T's thing, I think that there's a if
I don't think it is a bong. It
don't do
it could be one.
It's not good.
It looks like a novelty glass for or plastic glass for drinking out of.
Globes or something.
It's not
looks like one of them electric globes, out of Resurrection of the Daleks or Remembrance of the Daleks.
It's not one of those tubes, one of those enlargement tubes you pop your old man into in one of those emails, is it?
I think the Dalek looks more like a bomb, to be honest.
Great stuff there from Spanky Backpack. I miss J&T, says Hewan.
Yeah.
Oh God, what he would say about this era, that would be fantastic. Oh.
And that's one of the.
I'd have 1,000 J&Ts over one RTD. J&T, all is forgiven. And
I never ever
says J&T wasn't on the.
I never ever hated J&T. I never ever hated his tenure, any of it.
Woodhouse does speculate that could be one of the drinking vessels from the Five Doctors that the Doctor and Tegan, the Doctors and Tegan are drinking from. I think you could be right. You could be right. But in the meantime, yes, congratulations to Spanky Backpack. A really fun X account, lots of imagery and gags and various notions and ideas there over on that account. I think they're on Instagram as well. So go and say hello and see some of their other artwork and creative ideas and tell them that Type 40 sent you. J&T was a professional. And he did his best. Much love and respect, says Richard Brooks. And Cheryl boasts that she was just too young there. Oh, I don't know. You can go off people, can't you, Matt? You can go off people.
Yeah.
and finally, Doctor Who magazine hasn't brought us any answers. No. Is the page turning on Doctor Who? Look, it has to. I think we have to start getting back to a healthier place and putting some of that car crash in the rear view mirror. Fan art has started to turn up that incorporates Billie Piper in this latest role, in this new capacity, however it may be, including this piece here, an updated piece by this mystery artist there that puts Billie's new character Who knows? Next to the original Doctor, and updates the dates there on the side of the TARDIS, 1963 to 2025. I personally don't hold Billie Piper responsible for any of this. I can see why she stepped in.
I'm quite happy she stepped in, to be honest.
You are.
I do like the.
Yeah, I am.
Really?
Yeah, no, because I just feel that it just totally marks off the rest of what this entire era was about, and so it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all. You know, I don't want it to continue anymore. I feel that it's a bookend to it, really. I feel that this is a bookend and is a good, for a lot of people, it's a good place, guys. If you've stuck around this long to actually jump ship.
Yeah, good point. Bookend, says Lee in the live chat. A very eye-catching artwork, says Stephen Braddock. You see, the reason why I wanted to look at this is because when I saw this, and I've seen this piece before, this artist does keep updating this piece, whichever Doctor is around. But this is the first time I've looked at it, and my instant reaction is the Doctor, a current Doctor, is absent. And obviously we don't know what Russell's going to do. We don't know what's going to happen with Billy. But I do not see a Doctor there on the right. Just instinctively, I don't. Mm-hmm. And yet I watched that episode too, Gary. I haven't had the stomach to rewatch it. And so that's what my instinct is telling me, that there simply isn't a current Doctor present, and that to look to that character, we do have to look, sadly, for the time being, to the past.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, even the cover of the magazine has to put a question mark because, things are so uncertain. I do like the sentiment behind this art. I mean, the Hartnell is picture perfect, the Hartnell side of it. Yeah. But, it's not, it wouldn't be such a bad thing for everyone to just kind of keep the franchise alive by focusing on the aspect of it that you personally love, whether it's through the collection sets or the animations or whatever, and just kind of let go of what you don't. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing to where you have to accept the parts that don't feel right in order to enjoy the parts that did. I mean, carry the legacy of the show forward until whatever point it might come back by focusing on the aspects of it that you do love and nurture that, and that's how it'll stay alive.
Dalek Lives Matter here says all hope is lost. Again, I'm not going to have a pop at DLM for saying that, but we'll be here, to support you, mate, and to have a laugh, and to maybe feel differently in time. We'll just keep having the conversations that we have here at Type 40 and Type 40 Live, as always, and try to smooth the way a little until some answers are forthcoming. And I think the fan artists and creatives out there will absolutely step into the breach, because they can't not. That's the great thing about this fan base. It is so ferociously creative. Ezra Goldstein says it's interesting. Stephen O'Neill notices the symmetry there, that New Who started with Rose and ended with Rose. Funky's right. She suits that outfit better than Shooty. Absolutely. Whereas New Who hater just
dress
says
suits her, that's for sure.
No, the Doctor will return in the finale credits. Would have been a nice touch, that, wouldn't it? It would have been the nice touch. And we've got lots more coming in as well. She's Megalos, says Richard Brooks. So we can only wish for the return of Megalos
Cactus
now.
can do a better acting than Shruti, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So if you know who is responsible for this, let us know. I couldn't find them. We'll try and get the name in due course. But in the meantime,
a comic book artist, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's somebody called Tony. I think but I could be wrong. So I didn't want to sort of plaster a name on there without knowing for certain. But I did think it was a good piece to finish off this selection with. We need more, of course. We'll always need more to fill up these bloody great big grey walls. Still stuck with this desktop theme for the time being, even if the Doctor himself is no longer present. The least we can do is sort of cover as much of it up as we can. A traditional art or digital art, send it our way or us its way. We don't care how it works as long as we get it up here on the screen for Type 40 Live in our virtual gallery. You can get involved as well. Of course you can. Come and say hello as always. Dear me. Instagram and X at Type 40 Doctor Who. Those are our socials. You can join us in the Type 40 Facebook group to debate all of this and anything that may come out in the meantime, in between shows, before we get right back to you there. Get involved with Type 40, the live stream, or the podcasts through the wonders of SpeakPipe. Leave us a message over there, a question, a prediction, any feedback whatsoever, all welcome there at SpeakPipe Type 40. Doctor Who continues in one form or another, even if it's just in conversation form, right here with us, the past, the present, and the future. And we bring our hottest of takes, as always, across those platforms. Thank you, everybody, for joining in with the comments. We know we're at a very precarious place right now, but there's a lot here on the channel for you to get into. If you've not heard, if you've only recently found us during our coverage of season 2, there's a whole wealth of earlier live streams, previous Type 40 lives there, as well as dedicated reviews of those latest episodes. You'll find our regular news roundups, dedicated celebrations and showcases of figures, creatives and actors from Doctor Who's distinguished past, mostly distinguished. And there's our special editions as well. When they announced the new Blu-rays, there we are, and there we were when season 7 was launched earlier this year. That was right at the start, I think around February time. So yeah, go and get stuck in to 200 and how many? Nearly 240 editions of Type 40 Live, as well as the podcasts over there in the playlists. Whew. Yeah, for the time being, maybe we should focus on the good stuff. What do you think? Focus on the good stuff, as well as the conversations here that we bring you on Type 40 Live Mondays and Thursdays from 8 p.m. And what's coming next? We'll find out when you find out, I think. And as for him, he can stew in it for a little while, I think. I'm not shedding too many tears, Gary. I don't like to see anybody suffering. But
well,
God
no,
knows
but he has
JNT
JNT to comfort him. So
I don't feel sorry for him whatsoever.
No.
He deserves everything that he gets.
Thank you, everybody, for all the comments. We do appreciate it.
I'm a nice
Another
person, Norman.
great show. We'll be back again in just a few days' time. Everything could have changed by then, Gary. We could have had the new announcement of the Blu-ray, or Matt, this guy, he may decide to announce his he's leaving the showrunner's chair. Anything could happen in 72 hours.
Yeah, I hope so.
That will have to be a huge. If he does that will have to be like a huge drinking show, where we just come on and we're.
Well, remember when Chibnall left and we were all celebrating? We were just like, oh yes.
Yes. So we have more coming very, very soon, whether they like it or not. Richard Brooks says, agreed, Matt. Not sure what he's agreeing with. Just everything.
Oh,
and so does Daniel.
With everything that he deserves, everything that he gets.
Everything. Yep. We have. Lee says, why? He's made us all suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just in time to finish. Says PJ, mate. I better not ask what he's talking about there. It's best that we don't know. Stephen O'Neill speculates, I wonder what Tom Baker thinks of recent Doctor Who stories. He doesn't watch his own stories. Do you really think he watches this?
No, he'd be like Robert Downey Jr. and read off a script if he had to, but then he makes sure that that he's reading off a script. So
good stuff. Yes, as always, thanks to Charlotte Shields for all her contributions on this edition of the show. Matt, thanks for getting up for us yet again. We've had a few comments. Obviously, even though it's piping hot in Britain, people have noticed that you could be suffering a little. You're getting quite toasty.
I've been noticing people with their complaining about their temperatures over there at the moment, like, you know, and it's like, oh gosh, that was only me a few months ago. So I'm in the throes of winter at the moment, so I feel like wind in the willows at the moment.
He really
Right
is a real life time traveler. It's good to have you aboard again, Matt. Thanks for coming
No
on.
worries. Thank you.
Gary Akers, again, mate. Always good to catch up with you as well, especially when you bring the hat.
Oh yeah, well, no, thank you. No, because I think it is, you know, someday we will make Doctor Who great again. It's great to be with you. I look forward to us all getting together for the Emmys. That'll be a fun night.
Special
We'll be
live
on the
stream
red
for Emmys
carpet.
night.
That's right.
We'll be
Oh,
asking the
God.
hard questions.
That's right.
I think that's a great note to end it on. Thank you all for your company and for all those brilliant comments. Have a great weekend. We always have the time if you have the space here at Type 40 Live. Take care. Speak soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.